This conference will now be recorded.
See, in our yesterday's session, we have discussed about what is LRE and how it is different from LoadRunner. What are the benefits of the LoadRunner Enterprise? And we have had a brief demo of, we have given a brief demo of what is network virtualization, and then what is service virtualization, and how LRE is integrated with this network and network virtualization, and this thing is concerned. So in today's session, we will be just discussing about our LoadRunner Enterprise administration related activities, apart from mostly. So I'll just share my screen and just kindly make sure you are able to just let me know whether you're able to see my screen or not.
Yes, Pino. Yeah, I can able to see your screen.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now when you access LRE URL, by default you will see two things called one is like kind of plan and run your tests, and another is manage your environment. So the plan and run your test is only for the testers, but manage your environment is for your admins, LRE admins. Now just click on manage your environment. It will ask your admin credentials to log in. So from here, you will be able to manage all your projects. Like consider it as 100 or 150 project teams using this Pioneer Valentine. Like you'll be able to see all these details inside the administration page. What I'll do it up is I'll just start with a like kind of an infrastructure related connectivity checks first, and then we will move to the project management. So if we click on first important thing in the entire LRE is the system health check. In the system health check, LRE server will verify its own integrity and also the connectivity between the LRE server and the host versions is concerned. So if you see the okay, let me go ahead and do the check first. So if in case you have any problem inside the LRE or any problem with the load generators or the load, LRE host connectivities, if there is an issue, it will be listed up over here. So check here. I am checking actually the LRE server and also the LRE host. You have to check the LRE host also, so that you'll be able to understand like okay, like if there is any issues with that, it will be able to make this thing. Now I'm going to click on check. It will take generally 1 to 2 minutes to provide you this check results is concerned. So what it will verify over here is whether the LRE server itself is fine or not. If it is not fine, what are all the things it is being missed? If we let me explain it. Check all the servers has the same version. Check all the hosts has the same version, and then if you expand these things, it will verify whether the IAS web server in the LRE server is doing fine or not. The other services is doing fine or not. There is a backend service inside the LRE, whether it is making or not. Check the server database connectivity, whether the DB is being connected to the LRE server properly. All these details it will verify. When it will verify, and it will also like kind of go to the host. Host will make a connection with the same details with LRE server it is working fine or not. And with see, LRE host is nothing but actually as you are already into the performance testing, you know the controller and load generator are two different components. But you can also like kind of see the controller should make a connection to the load generators. So whether that connectivity between the this machine as a controller and to the other load generators is being possible or not, you will be able to verify. Only if this is passed, or if you see this thing is passed, then only you can be able to do with your test run is concerned. Consider that this is a failure. Whatever the load generators it is being failed, it will not be able to make any connection for them with them during the testing experience. So it is the first thing you have to, I mean, as an administrator, if you face with any of the connectivity issues, or if your load generators is not working properly, or the controller is not able to make a connection, all you have to do is the system health check. In the system health check, you will be it should mandatory come as everything as passed. If there is any issues, it will notify like kind of like instead of pass it will show as a failed, and the reason for the failed also it will be you will be able to verify the details as well. You have any questions or doubts in the system health check?
Uh, No, we are not related to system will check. I thought we will start with the installation. Um,
The
okay, so
installation will
we
not be set the reason. That's a different thing actually. We'll be seeing only the administration activities, the plan and run your test, how to plan your run your test, and the network virtualization and service virtualization in this course.
okay, okay, all right, okay.
Because
I
the
guess
installation is
just
a, yeah, installation is altogether a separate thing, and it will take a bit of time, like kind of it in hours as everything and the planning everything is concerned. So ideally we'll not be teaching anything with the installation as such, but the administration part and then the network how you have to use network virtualization in the LRE projects, and the service virtualization, how to create your services and how to run your services. Those things will be discussing this.
okay, okay, all right, okay. So this one
Probably
is admin.
I can give you an overview of, sorry.
Okay,
Y-
so these are all related to the admin sections of the LRE, and this
LRE,
is related to
yes,
the
yes.
system check, where we either no sorry we
Verify
as
the connectivity.
administrator we verify the connectivity and see all this host
Yes.
and LRE
Cons
servers are working fine.
or being connected fine now. See,
Connected fine.
right after you do the installation, this is the first thing any administrator will do. I can
Okay,
also give you an overview of the installation, but we may not be able to take the step by step because that's going to be a long process actually. But I
right.
can be also able to provide you like one session with like how we have to, what are the things we have to plan in order to make the installation, all these details. That I'll let you know the details, like, just going forward. But for now, like we'll just start with that administration. I mean, consider that our installation is completed. The first thing we will be doing up is a system health check. In the system health check, everything should come as a pass. Second thing,
Okay,
we will click on the servers and we will see whether the, if you see this is not checked. Okay, just select the LRA server. This is the server. Click on check server. See, ping pass successfully. So ideally, all these things should be the right after. Consider like, okay, we have just completed the installation. These are the first steps we will perform overcoming that. And you can
okay.
click
Can
on
we
the DP
compare it
server
to?
and see. Sorry.
Okay, can we compare it to the diagram and see that
Sure.
the system will check when we press this button, or what no what boxes or will be checked?
No. Okay. What are the understood? Sure. If you go to the LRE itself, ADM help page, you'll be able to see the architecture diagrams from there, from the help pages.
Right.
In the deployment examples, I'm showing you the basic, not the complex diagram now.
Oh,
So when you click on the system health check, actually LRE will go to the host, will go to the load generators, will go to the DB server, will go to the repository, and will see whether it is able to make a connection with everything or not. Second thing,
oh,
host will make a connection with the LRE server, and host will make a check with the like kind of load generator and see whether the connectivity is working fine or not. Load generator will not have any health system health check. Only these two will have a system health checks. In the LRE server, it will verify the DB server check, repository check, host check, and the LG's check. In case of LRE host, only this thing and this thing it will be able to make a connection. So only if these
okay.
connections are all functioning, you can be able to go ahead and perform your testing is concerned. Whatever the this thing I have performed right now, actually the connectivity configuration installation, so it is only related to the LRE servers. So consider like, okay, you're not able to access, or you're getting some issues with the like kind of during a test run, or there may be an issue with the network configuration. You're not able to access the pages properly. So these are the two things we have to perform. Like one is with the system health check, another is with the servers. If both
Okay.
should come as fast. Only then we will
Okay.
be able to understand. Okay, there will be no connectivity or system health check failures or okay. So
Right.
and
Right.
again like kind of, yeah, yes. And again, if you open this thing, you will be able to see something called an internal URL and an external URL. The internal URL and external URL is nothing but actually how LRE server will communicate with itself. It's as I said to you, in the LRE server actually, LRE in the server, there is a web server called IIS. It uses IIS to communicate itself inside the LRE component system. So this is the internal URL it will be using to do this. All these things should come as must and should as passed. only then that your LRE server is considered as up and running. And when you click on the processes, actually, what are all the processes present inside the LRE server, it will be able to, you will be able to see all those details and how much memory it is being consumed and how much like kind of other processor time it is going to be consumed. It is being done. But any things it will be doing it up as a backend. You'll be able to do all the check all the details with the event log. So, example, if I want to keep any reconfiguration of the host. Okay, let me show you one thing. Okay, um, I'm going to host. I'm going to check this host health check.
This LRE server will
So
have the IAS and DB and all these
yes,
things.
yes,
Do we
yes,
need to
yes, yes,
install it
yes.
separately, or will it install it as a package when we install it
No,
in
we
this
will
LRE
here
servers?
actually in the LRE server actually. IAS is like see one thing. First thing to be remembered with the LRE server is LRE server is installed only on the Windows servers, not on the Linux servers. It is Linux servers is not supported for LRE. When you open the
Okay.
LRE servers, actually, there is a thing called server manager. In the server, I mean, as I'll show you all these details in our subsequent sessions when I give you overview of the installation. But in the server manager, see a thing called add roles and features. In the add roles and features, you will have web IAS server. If you select that role and click on install, the IAS server will be automatically installed. Database
Okay.
actually you have to get the database from your database server. On one single server, you cannot place the database on the LRE server. LRE server is separate, DB server is separate. Either it may be of an Oracle or it may be of a SQL. You have to get this installation done from your DB team system. If you want to do it up by yourself, I mean, in a company level, it cannot be. But if you want to practice and do it up, you can be able to do it up in your own machine and system, provided it is having an you are having a Windows server machine. You can do all these things in a one single machine also.
Okay.
But most of the times this is going to be an how to say it? It is going to be your DB admin will be provided.
Okay. Okay.
That this is
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Now I have clicked on the check course and the check course has come as passed. If I go to the servers now and see the events, change I mean, this is what on the host I made a like kind of an activity. Some changes, whatever it has been made up, all these things will be like notified in the event logs. But ideally, we don't consider anything with the event logs. But I'm just explaining you this is all. But as long as your connectivity check is coming, a check server is coming as a past, you don't need to worry about anything with the LRE server or anything with the other details is concerned. So for now, like what is the indication that your LRE environment is working fine or not is this thing system health check should compulsory pass and your server should compulsory be passed and also your host should be compulsory in the pass state. Either if they are considered they are not operational or any other details, then that means your host is not working fine. If your host is not working fine, of course your system health check will be showing you as like kind of a failure in the host section. Host, system health check, and servers. These are the three things should be mandatorily in the past state. Only then you will be able to understand that stating, okay, LRE server environment is up and running fine without any connectivity issues. And this is the every day when an admin logs in into the environment, this is the first things he or she will be doing. This thing. System health check, server check, and the host check. All these things should be up and in the past state. Only then the details will be considered as things are working fine. Second thing, the part of the details of the everyday management of an admin is the host management. So, right now we are having only one machine here, but like in the real-time environments, you'll be having a 40 or 50 machines, or it also depends some 20 or 30. At least like kind of a minimum of 5 to 10 machines will be present over there. So each and every day, the admin has to see whether they are operational or not. So the admin can be able to click on check host. That means check in the sense it will ping the host and see whether the connectivity is working fine or not. The ping is working fine. And next is reconfigure host. Reconfigure host means on the host there will be LRE settings. It will reset the settings and it will reset all the settings to be the initial default settings is concerned. This is needed at times Consider there is a patch update happened on your LRE host machine, or some settings change happened by the Windows teams or anything. So the LRE settings will be getting affected, and the status will show you as non-operational. When the status will show you as non-operational, all you have to do it up is like if I click on reconfigure host, what it does is it will reset the settings. It will reset the settings of the LRA to the default, like whatever is available earlier, and whatever the changes happen due to the patch installation, or whatever the changes happen due to the any other modifications done by the Windows team on this LRE host machines will be resetted as needed by the LRE. Then it will show you as an operation. So if in case like kind of if you we're not going to do this right now, but consider actually there is some problem happened, and if you want to restart this machine, you don't need to log in into this machine directly. You can click on the maintenance and you can click on reboot host. If you click on the reboot host, actually what happens over there is LRE will be logging into the LRE host, and it will restart the machine. It will show you like kind of once it is restarted, it will reconfigure the host manually, and it will show you it will bring the status as an operation. But these are the general host activities we will perform. We will check host. When we click on the check host, we will be getting a ping over there. When we click on reconfigure host, like all the settings, whatever maybe the patch changes happened or whatever other details happened, we will be correcting them by using the reconfigure host. And then we will be like, if in case if you want to make anything as a I mean to say, if you want to restart the server due to your any issues, you can go ahead and click on the report host is concept. So these are the like kind of an activities, and we will be configuring some settings in the host setting that okay, when there is a like kind of if you see timeout for checking legitimate activities, that means LRE server or LRE server like an LRE host actually when the controller wants to make a connection with the like during the test run, it will verify for every 30 seconds the connectivity is working fine or not. If you want to reduce it up, you can also increase it and increase it up. But ideally, we suggest you to keep this as a default settings. The reason is if you keep it as a default for every 30 seconds, like it will go ahead and verify if there is a connectivity is not being happening. Automatically, the system health check will be reflected, and automatically the host health check over here will show as non-operational. And again, we will be running too many test runs on our host and the LG machine systems. So what we
The voice is deteriorating, Abhinav.
so there will be a large scale accumulation of the results data over there. In order to write when sorry, sir, my voice is it okay now? My
Yeah,
apologies. Is
yeah,
it okay?
it
Am I audible
it
now?
went off like 1 minute back. It
Hello.
you know
Uh,
yeah, 1 minute back it was like a distorted voice.
okay.
Um, it was on and off.
Okay. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'll just connect with another network. Just one. Let me stop my presentation for a while. Just a second. My apologies. Try to change the network.
Okay, no problem.
Vivek, am I audible now?
Yes, Abhinav.
Sorry.
Yes, Abhinav. You're audible. You're audible.
Sorry for that. I'll just share my screen back.
Okay.
if you see this thing, okay, is my screen is visible now?
Yes, yes, Abhinav, it is visible.
Yeah.
I can
When
see
when
host
we
setting.
Yes, yes. See, the first thing is with the controller connectivity. That means every 30 seconds, the controller will go and verify with the load generators. In this diagram, if you see this thing, we are configuring every 30 seconds. LRE host will have to go and check with the load generator whether you are available or not for me, whether it is able to make a connection or not. So this will happen for every 30 seconds. This makes sure that actually, okay, what happens over here, here is now, okay, if the connectivity is not happening, then the uh, uh, the status will be showing as a non-operation automatically. So that means when you see the status as non-operational, you have to go ahead and you have to do your reconfiguration of the host instance. So this is how it will work out. And in the second thing, it will see about the results. We run a number of test runs on the load generators and controller systems. When we run the number of test runs, ideally, there will be large scale accumulation of the data. So say you're running up to 20 test runs, maybe some 30 or 40 GB of the data will be consumed in the read drive. So in order to like kind of have an optimal management of the spaces inside the load generator, inside the load generators and the host machines, every 30 days we are instructing them to delete this old data. So whatever is the last month data, May month data, on June 1st it will go ahead and delete the file system. So it will be doing this management of space management automatically by itself based upon your instructions. Generally, what happens after a test is, once the test is completed, controller will collect the data from all the load generators and it will pass it on to the LoadRunner Enterprise. In the LRE server, that the results is automatically being stored. As the results are automatically being stored in the LRE server, it is not required in the host machines to have a setting, to have a another copy is concerned. So every 30 days it will go ahead and it will delete these settings is concerned. You have any questions or things for now? Any questions till now, or any question, anything you want to discuss?
Yes, Abhinav, I have one question is that so this LRE server, it is like a controller, it will run the test, but I thought the
No, no.
results will be stored
LR
with the
is
database.
No, no, no. Consider like this actually. LRE server will never run the test. Always to remember, LRE server is just a UI. The run is dealt by the LRE host itself. Like in case of LoadRunner Professional, how controller will do the load test actually. Here also the controller only will be doing the load test. But the initiation, that example, like if instruction, in case of like LoadRunner Professional, LoadRunner generally desktop based application, you will go and click on the run button manually. But in case of LRE LoadRunner Enterprise, you will instruct the LRE server. Okay, when you click on run button, it will go to the LRE host and it will initiate the run and it will make sure the load is being generated with the load generators. Rest and all, like actually, LRE server is nothing but a UI. Whatever happens on the LRE host, it will display UI like kind of screens. Okay, this is what controller is doing. This is what is in your all your load generators are doing. It will give you a display of everything.
Okay,
Once
okay,
the test is complete, once the test is completed, Vivek, actually, consider there are 10 load generators. LRE host will go to each load generator and get the results. And once the results are like kind of received in the LRE host, actually it will pass it on to the LRE server. In the LRE
okay,
server, there are two types of data. Always to remember, there are two types of data. One is with the database, another is with the file repository system. So your results will be stored in the file repository system of LRE server, but the reference
okay,
to the results will be stored in the reference to the result will be stored in the DB. That means test number 20102. Where is the location of the results will be stored in the DB. But
okay,
actual
okay,
result
got it.
will be stored in the file repository system. So that is the
Repository. Okay.
reason actually when you click on the servers, you have two things. One is a server thing. Second, DB server. This is the where actually all your databases will be sitting up over there. And then when you click on the SSO configuration, you have a thing called file repository. It will list you out like kind of what is your project storage, how much is your like free space, how much is your by each project, how much it is consuming, all these details. Ideally, the data is of two types: the hard data like your scripts and then your test results. All these things will be stored inside the repository, but the reference
Right
to this
repository.
data will be stored in the DB server. You got the point?
Yes, yes, Abhinav. So we need the DB server, we need the repository, we need LRE servers,
Yes,
we need at least
yes,
one
yes.
LRE host.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But
So
but
files.
repository actually, we generally don't keep a separate server for it. We keep a D drive in LRE server and we will use it. I mean, if you're having a huge scale test runs, okay, you are having 150 1 TB of data, then what we'll do is in the LRE server itself, we'll create separate drive. We will keep like kind of a D drive or E drive separately, and then one TP will be allotted over there. There itself, when we do the installation, we will point out like how we pointed it out here. Actually, if you see this thing, see micro focus repository, and in the LRE server, in the C drive, in the micro focus folder, there is a thing called repository. Inside the scripts are being stored. So we will keep the repository mostly in the LRE server, but DB server will be a separate server. LRE server will make a connection with the DB server. Like as we see here, actually, if we go to the servers, if we go to the DB server here, you see the like this is the server name, this is the server type, this is the schema names it is making a connection, this is the credentials it is making a connection. All these connections details will be making. DB server will be separate, but 90% you can keep a separate repository server also. There is no problem. But most of the time we don't keep it separate. When we will keep it
Okay.
separate repository server is actually when you have more than one LRE server. Some people uh, it is mandatory for their organizations in such a way that okay, maybe a pharmaceutical or a banking organizations, mandatorily two application servers has to be present. When there is a mandatory concept of more than one application server, then ideally it is not possible to keep the repository in one of the LRE servers. So we will assign a separate repository server, and we will make sure that two LRE servers is making a connection with this repository server. Then you will have a
Okay.
separate server. You got the point.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, Abhinav. So all this LRE server, LRE host, and repository, sorry, DB server, and everything has to be on the same
Yes.
Windows version, is it? For example, if it is going to be Windows
I'll
20.
tell you one. No, no, I'll tell you one thing. Okay. Uh, the answer is no for it actually. Uh, they are all independent components. Actually, see, if you can keep 2019 server OS for LRE server, 2016 server OS for LRE host, 2013. I mean, as long as like you 2022 also. So how we can be able to know all those things, which is supported for what? This is the help page. Go to the support matrix.
Okay.
In the support matrix, you will have a system requirements document.
Okay.
In the system requirements document, sorry, it is loading. See, for the LRE, uh, if you see this thing actually, a LoadRunner Enterprise host. This is the host requirement. In the host, see, these are all the supported voices. You can pick any of these. There is no a hard fast rule that actually like only one OS has to be picked up for the host. Example, if you see this thing, Windows 10 64 is supported for the host, but when you come to the LRE server, this is LRE server actually. Windows 10 is not supported. Windows 11 is not supported. Only server OS is supported. So there is no harm in actually picking up actually. If you go to the deployment examples, you can keep
Okay, Abhinav, I got it.
as needed whatever is as your OS exactly. As I said, like enough load generators can be of Unix also, but LRE server is only Windows. And DB server,
Okay.
your DB only what you have to say to your DB person is actually, see, I want a 2019 SQL server. He will do the arrangements and provide you. I want an Oracle 19C. Okay. So if you see the thing that the whatever is the system requirements for them will be decided by your DB DBT, but ideally there is no dependency on anything here.
Right,
We
right.
will not be having
Okay,
any
okay.
dependencies. Yeah, you can ask as many as questions and we can at the EPM. The reason is like we can discuss in detail only if we can ask these questions and we'll be clarified with these details because administration as a part involves a lot of doubts and questions. It's not about like kind of me saying something, it will not be able to understand for you also. But you can ask many things as possible. And
Okay,
again,
thank you.
one other thing also, Vivek, always to remember, if you see the ports, so it's not about you getting the servers. Yes, you have to get the server, and you have to make sure you have to go to your network team or like whoever is your DNS point of contact. Open all these ports on the LRE host. Open all these ports on the like in load generators. If you see, if for LRE server to make a connection to the LRE host, you need all these ports to be. And for
Okay, open
SQL
on
server, it
both
has to
LRE
be
server and LRE host.
the host. Then like kind of what happens if you see this thing LRE server to the load generator, you need to make sure these two ports to be available between these two. Only then the connectivity is possible. Most of the times, what the teams will forget to do it is they will not open the ports. When they don't open the ports, right after your installation, your system health check will be failed. At that time, it won't mention anything over here. It will mention in the logs. I'll show you all the details in the subsequent sessions when we do. I'll like, give you in logs how we have to verify all these things. It will show you like in such a way that okay, there will be no port connectivity. So mandatorily, when you procure your servers, you should also write an email to your network team to open these ports. Only then, like your connectivity checks will be passed, and you will be able to make a connection with the LRE servers. Now, if we come to the host, actually, in the it is like this way. You can use the same machine as both host and load generator. There is no harm in it. If you see this thing, if you click on plus, when you type some host name over the whatever the machine, you can define the purpose. You can define the whether this machine can be used as all the three components. See, controller you are aware of, load generator you are aware of, but data processor you might not be aware of. What is data processor means? Once your test is completed, your results needs to be collated. Your results needs to be collated. The collation will be done by the data processor. The collation of the results will be handled by the data processor, and it is mandatory to have one machine as a data processor in your entire system, in your entire LRE system. But generally, what happens is people will configure controller and data processor together. It is the same software. When you install the LRE host software on a machine, your that machine is eligible to perform all these three duties. But someone will have saying that okay, see, I cannot afford a 16 GB RAM machine for like kind of I have only like a 8 GB RAM. So what? Let me use it as only as a controller and data processor, so that I can keep more RAM in the load generator machines. So if that is the case, you can use them as only as a controller and data processor. But 90% of the time, when you install the host component software, it will be used all the three cases. But sometimes what happens is whenever there is a like kind of an as I said to you, uh, uh, when 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 the load generator is in the three when load generator and controller is in the two different networks, or you want to exclusively use a machine only for the load generator due to the RAM and memory and the CPU usage of the heavy volume usage, then what you generally do it is there is another component called actually one 1LG. 1LG means only load generator. If you see, I have not selected anything over here. If I by default, if I go with the Windows first, all three things will be enabled for me. But there is a component called 1LG. If I select the 1LG, only LG will be selected over here automatically. That means either because of two different networks, if you are trying to configure, or if you are trying to make you are trying to make a like kind of exclusive load generator machine because of your need, you will be configuring it as a 1LG machine. So, see, it is on all based upon your own needs actually. Nothing else is concerned. And as I said to you, ML laser, I'll also show you in our next sessions why, how to configure and all this detail. But now this is how you configure your host. Once you do your host installation, you will come to the LRE administration page. See, there is a request from your project team saying that okay, we want a few more load generators, so we want few more AWS machines to be configured, so just for your testing. You'll install the LRE host software. You will come over here. You will write everything. Like you will fill up all this host names. You'll what is internet purpose. You will make it up everything, and then you can go ahead and then you will just like add this machine as a host. Once you add it, it will be like this. Whatever it is being displayed, and you can go ahead and click on check host and reconfigure host, and you can do your system file. You have any questions or doubts on these things? Whatever we have discussed.
No, Abhinav.
It is say something like this. First of all, when you want to configure your LRE environment, always go to the your support matrix and see what are all the servers you have it up, and what are all the minimum requirements, and what is your RAM needed, what is your hard disk needed, what for LRE server hosts and DB machines. Go ahead and procure those machines. Write an email to your network teams. Ask them to open these ports, whatever the ports you are seeing here actually. Ask them to open these ports for you. Once the ports are opened, perform the installation. Once the installation is performed, go to the system health check and verify the LRE system health check in order to see that the environment is working fine or not. And then go to the host, add the whatever the host you have installed, please add it up over there and do again the check host and the reconfigure host details is concerned. After that thing, that means your environment is now ready. You can go ahead and you can be able to do your activities is concerned. So this is how a general like kind of process is established. But when it comes to the admin job of a maintenance task, every day when the admin logs in, first thing he or she has to do is to perform the system health check. Once this is done, you have some maintenance tasks. In the maintenance tasks, as I said, like within how many days actually you have to delete the results. How many days you have to clean up any of these things, and then like how many for every 15 minutes it has to go and check the host whether it is available fine or not. Every like kind of I mean like result cleaning test every 360. That means every 6 minutes it should disable the I mean to say like kind of temp files, temp results, all these things. So you can, though we don't do these things day by day, I'm just explaining you in such a way that okay, these are the things it can be automatically performed based upon your commands given over here. Uh,
Okay.
any question? Any questions?
This maintenance, when we click this refresh or this button on the
Simple.
right hand corner,
Um,
it will
ah,
delete all the files.
that's it. That's it. You can also configure. Example here in this case, it will be expired actually like end of after 90 days. If you want, you can change this one. But
Okay.
like kind of all these things is day to day life. Actually, we will do it once in a while. We will do all this activities.
Okay. And will it send any email if I configure any email and if there is any issue with the
You see,
system?
there is a
Will it?
thing called alert. Okay,
Okay.
there is a thing called alert. When you click on this thing, see who whenever there is a like this actually. Whenever there is a like kind of a test runs is being conducted for an event, all this time slots is being okay. You are asking this thing in the perspective of any issue. If there is any LRE server as such will not send us any of the direct alerts actually. So in generally what happens is Vivek, when we configure an LRE server or LRE host policy, we will add all of these things in the site scope or any of the monitoring tool. That means it will go ahead and verify this URL all the time. It will go ahead and verify whether the disks are free or not. It will go ahead and verify all these things in detail, and it will trigger an email or messages to the administration if in case there is a disk is getting full or like the URL is on all or the IA server is on, it will trigger. But in case of LRE, the alerts whatever you see here is if someone books a time slot or if someone like kind of running a test run, okay, when the test is started, automatically the administrator has to or the owner has to make it up, or when the test is finished, whomever you want to make it, when if it is a test is a failure, who and all you want to make a note of them, you can be able to configure your settings over here. But just a moment. Okay. Wait a second. So, but in order to make these settings possible, you should have a SMTP server. SMTP server is nothing but a mail server. In right now, we don't have any server, but in case of your companies, you can ask. There will be separate team called messaging team or a mail team where they do it with WebSphere and Cube or SMTP, IIS SMTP, everything they will be maintaining. You have to get the credentials from them. You see it. Okay. Enable SMTP server. First of all, you need to get two things from them. One, from email. Example, like kind of from where how LRE has to send an email to Vivek is concerned. So it should have one from email. That from email has to be created in your AD records. Once you give that thing actually, once you have it, you have to what is your address of the email server? What is your address means like your email address. and mail server IP, mail server port, mail server login information, and send test mail. Send test mail to, like, if you're sending a test mail to Vivek or like kind of like it will be like kind of over here. So this is only after you configure these things, and this is a pretty straightforward thing. You have to ask what is the email address from your admin teams, and then like your IP address and the IP the port of the SMTP server, the user and the credentials of it, and then the send test email to the that means like test email is your name, your email, or my email. Only after these things the alerts is possible. Alerts can be done from the LRE. But whatever you are asking from the maintenance or the hardware perspective, generally we will be configuring all the LRE servers, all the LRE host machines and DB machines in a monitoring setup. Either it may be of a like kind of a site scope or a Dynatrace or app dynamics, which will ping all the time. And if in case the ping is not being reached, or if in case the C drive or other D drive activities is being completely filled up over here, it will send out an email on.
Okay, got it. All right.
In
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so this is the maintenance task. I just kept it like kind of a very small for today, so that from Monday we can pick it up like what is the general other activities. We will start with network virtualization, and we'll start with the project related and all other details I can show you on this thing. But now just like
Yeah, sure.
we'll just stop for today, and we will continue all this thing in full fledged detail from Monday. If you have any questions at all, you can always ask me. It's like we can discuss. Like we still have like 5-10 minutes of time. We can discuss on them. If you want to know anything, we can discuss it later on.
Yeah, okay, Abhinav. Yeah, sure.
Uh, is it okay? Shall we drop off? Do you have any other things to discuss?
No, Abhinav, all good for today.
Okay. We will do all these things in filtration from Monday. Hello, Ipin. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
thank
you have any questions from there, okay, then I
you.
can.
All
Which
good.
then
Thank
we
you.
can drop off. Yeah. Then we will do all these activities from Monday week in filtration. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
all
all.
right.
Thanks for your time, all of you. Bye bye.